because kids are so dysregulated, it creates a bit of chaos unlike we've ever seen. And so starting in kindergarten, when these kids are 5 years old, because they're not playing as much with their peers, and because they're behind a screen, and because they're not out there naturally learning how to communicate and collaborate and, deal with conflict with their friends, they get to school and it's a mess. And so we used to have, back, in the day, one or two kids who are dysregulated. Now you walk into a class, in a kindergarten class, and half the class is dysregulated. And so that's why it's important to teach that social emotional piece early and often, because if you don't, those kids' behavior is just going to manifest and grow and grow and grow. And that's what we're seeing in schools from kindergarten to grade 1 to grade 2, all the way to grade 12. A lot of times by the time you get into high school, kids are dropping out, or they get moved down a path of drugs and alcohol because that's how they cope. And so the sooner you introduce this emotional intervention in kindergarten, and you continue to do it all the way through. I mean, look how much money people are making with adults around mindfulness and meditation and all of those things. Myself, I have to take deep breaths. I have to check my emotional well-being. And I'm pretty much an expert. I've researched it. I've wrote a book on it. But every day I have moments where I'm like, ooh, I better take a deep breath here, or I'm about to say something that somebody's not going to like, right? And AJ, right? And it's the same thing as when you get excited and you're overly happy, and even when you're happy, you might say or do something you shouldn't, right? And so the key is to try to help society get back to a place where kids can cope with the smallest of stressors, because right now the tiniest things are causing temper tantrums or poor behavior or disrespectful behavior. And that's an issue. And I don't know if you see it in India as much as we see it here, but disrespectful behavior is on the rise as well, right? Where kids because back in our day, remember, it was fear-based. If you messed with the old man, you were getting one on the rear end, right? And, nowadays that doesn't exist. Kids have no fear. So when you're working with kids, you don't have fear to lean on like you did 20 years ago, right? And because fear is removed, now you got to find other ways to get kids to understand and develop those skills, so they're respectful, they have manners, they can persevere, they're motivated, and so we've got to teach those things that used to come from the home.